My practice is interested in brokenness, and I've been working with discarded and refuse for a long time, and I still find broken things and odd arrangements of things that you would find on a pile of refuse very interesting. So my studio is like that. It's kind of got areas where objects are just kind of laying on top of each other, and it's often this kind of random association of things that begins an artwork. In this case, I've joined a violin and a crutch together. One of the works is an interactive piece, so it is actually a musical instrument, and Jane Orberg, who's a violin player, she's been investigating what sounds it can make, and it actually makes 3 different sounds in the different parts of the instrument. A lot of the objects in this particular exhibition discuss broken relationships from a personal point of view. So I separated from my husband last year. This ladder, I kind of remade the parts out of silk, so it's not a fragile material, but it also looks a little bit like a body. This work's called Comfort Me, Soothe Me, and it actually smells really nice because it's filled with cloves, and I filled the top part with my own breath. Sometimes the objects that are broken, I think about how I can extend their utility, but in another way. So thinking about repair not as a return to wholeness. I didn't try to find another stopper and make it back into a workable hot water bottle, but I thought about how this object can provide comfort. So this work's called As Sweet As It Is, and again it's about restriction and with the brace, but also this kind of honey in here, tying the 2 materials together. It's kind of, I used honey, it's kind of a sweet, sticky substance, it's a bit sexy. Sometimes the relationship is like that, it's kind of, you make compromises. This work is called Memories of Wounds Received and Mended, and it began with this broken chair that I found on the side of the road. And I decided to honour the fracture, which is what I often do in objects. I see the broken part as valuable, not only sculptural, it presents an opportunity to insert something in that crack, but it is also kind of quite emotive and poetic, this kind of broken thing. I used a method called kintsugi, which is a Japanese method of repairing broken ceramics, where the cracks are infilled with gold lacquer, and it's the cracks that make the object beautiful. There's kind of a valuing of the flaw as something that gives human life richness, but also the object itself, it makes it more beautiful. So when I cut out the pieces and put the gold leaf in the cracks, I decided to remake the broken pieces with my x-rays. So I made patterns to sew the pieces that fit back into the chair. Within the exhibition you can see connections between things. The ladder piece that I previously talked about, and there's another ladder in this work, and then another ladder further in the far room that connects the bed ends together. And these 2 ladders are part of a long extension ladder. And the long bed, it is also my ex-husband and I, our length toe to toe. This piece was broken bed ends, and I transformed it and repaired it in a way that attaches feet to the bottom and cricket pads, and they relate to this object here, which is a cricket ball with my breast moulded into it. In making the exhibition, I had planned to use this space, and I really liked the columns. So this work is actually held in place by tension. There's no kind of fixings. And I put little hot water bottle stoppers that are made of beeswax on the end of the ropes, which connect to other beeswax shapes in the exhibition. I'm very much interested in breath and how it affects our emotional state. You can actually control your mind and your emotion through breath, and vice versa. If you get anxious, your breath will speed up. And this breath within me, this cloud here, is actually the shape of tiny little fragments that are inside the lung that allow the oxygen to be absorbed. I've also included some other works that are felted and about breath as well. Breath, but also speech. So this one's quite interesting in terms of broken relationships, that you're kind of holding your words and collecting your words and wishing you could take them back. So this work is called Beneath the Weight of the Sheets, and it also refers to partnerships between people and living in domestic relationship, and how in that relationship you're connected to each other, entwined with each other. And sometimes that balance between two people becomes unbalanced, and one becomes a lead weight and the other one becomes a hot water bottle that's made of beeswax. I think the objects that I include in the works are, for me, they're kind of symbolic. I hope that the works are strong enough for other people to read into them what their own personal lives. I don't really feel like people need to get the work.